Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold up, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up weekdays. Catch us live, somebody, let's go.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys are all doing well out there. Hope this show finds you in great spirits, as it should. Hopefully you enjoyed your Super Bowl Sunday if you were watching Super Bowl. Like I said, go Chiefs. But man, was that a good game. All I got to say is that was a really good game. Regardless of how whoever, what the outcome was going to be, I'm very happy that, of course, I'm happy that the Chiefs won. But at the same time, I'm happy it was a good freaking game. That was definitely worth the watch. But nonetheless, we got to talk about this situation. This happened yesterday. And as I'm like on my way walking into a Super Bowl watch party thing with some family and friends and all that, this news popped off. And I'm like, what? Of all places, we have a tragedy, an attempted mass tragedy at Joel Osteen's Megachurch, Lakewood. Okay, Lakewood Megachurch. This is absolutely mind-blowing to me. Okay, this is absolutely mind-blowing. I'm still kind of shocked about this. And of course, yes, people were talking about this, but of course, a lot of people were watching the game. So a lot of people are catching up on this after the fact, in a way, right? So I wanted to talk to you guys about it. There's a few updates, but I wanted to give you guys a little bit of what we know so far and all that. Again, do we have to have these mass tragedies? Do we really? Okay. And of course, you guys already know where I stand on all this stuff. It's very, very devastating. And my thoughts and prayers go out to all the people, all the victims, because it's beyond just the people who are actually hit, right? It's all the people that actually survived, all the survivors that are all emotionally going through things right now, emotionally, mentally as well. This is just terrible. But I digress. I get ahead of myself all the time. Do me a favor, okay? Hit that like button down below. Please and thank you, especially if you don't know what's going on and you're still brand new to this story. I'm going to try to give you an update or, bring you up to date as best as I can. There is also rumor of the woman who is actually holding the firearm. There is rumor about her identity being exposed. We're going to talk about that as well. So please hit that like button down below. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on Facebook. If you're watching this video down below, hit that reaction button down below. That would be greatly appreciated. Don't forget to hit that follow button if you're watching on Facebook. Okay, on my Facebook page, hit that follow button. On my YouTube channel, please crush that subscribe button if you can. If you want to support the channel, by all means, hit that join button down below if you're watching on YouTube. Become a member of the family. I talk about everything from true crime to pop culture and everything in between. So that's a lot of stuff. All right. And if you appreciate how I tell these stories, please, by all means, support the channel if you can. Simply by hitting that join button down below and becoming a part of the family. Okay. If you want to support, go check out my merch page, pascalmerch.com. Got some really, really great hoodies, t-shirts, custom handcrafted t-shirts and hoodies. Go check them out. They're made by these two hands. So go check it out. Okay. And of course, if you just want to support and you don't want to do the family membership, check out my Patreon, patreon.com/The Pascal Show. That'd be greatly, greatly appreciated. Okay, guys, let's get into this. We got miles to go before we end this show. So we got some things we got to talk about. And this is, like I said, still very shocking. Because I never thought I would ever in my life hear something like this. Now, I mean, at least we've heard mass tragedies in churches before. You just never know. You just never think that, oh, it would never happen in a place of worship. You know what I mean? It would never happen in a mega church. Oh, it would never happen in a school. Let's not forget that, right? Oh, it would never happen here. It would never happen in a preschool or a kindergarten. You see what I'm saying? So it is shocking nonetheless, no matter what, as much as we are so used to hearing active monster on the premise, on the campus, on the grounds. We've heard that multiple times, but it's still never, it will never get easy. It will never be something that I'll ever get comfortable with by saying these things out loud. And it doesn't matter the gender. It doesn't matter if this person identifies as man or woman. It doesn't matter. Still, it's just something that is still shocking no matter who the person is holding that actual firearm. I'm just going to say that out loud and right off the bat. Okay. But of course, we all got questions. We all are wondering what's going on here. And so am I. I want to know, why did this alleged female monster, okay? I got to use these code words, guys. I'm sorry, but as much as I want to say all the things I really want to say, I got to use these code words, unfortunately, so I can keep these lights on, okay? But this female monster walked into the Lakewood Megachurch and opened fire. And allegedly, she was holding a 5-year-old child whilst pulling the trigger and screaming all kinds of different things, saying that she had a device that goes boom and all this. And allegedly, she was also spraying some sort of substance in the air. It's a very weird situation and still extremely sad. And I have to say that the 5-year-old kid is in critical condition. I have yet, and I know some of you guys were commenting that in the chat, if there was any updates on the little boy, the 5-year-old boy. So far, I have not heard anything about the 5-year-old boy as of yet. But trust me when I say this, as soon as we find out more information about that young boy, trust me, I will give you guys an update on that for sure. And I will say this too. I'm sorry, but I didn't know that this was going to happen. And I didn't know that there was going to be a little kid involved in this situation. So I apologize if this hurts or makes anybody feel some type of way. This is breaking news as of yesterday, and I'm giving you guys the information. I'm sorry that there's a little involved in this situation, but that is not in my control. Okay. But we know that he is critically wounded. That's all we know. Okay. So let's get into this story. All right. Because we got to get into this. All right. And trust me, we got plenty of other stories I got to tell you. Man, there are so many stories I got to tell you. So it's going to be a busy one. We are going to be doing a watch party of Kayla Montgomery's testimony later on this afternoon, around the same time I did on Friday. So we will be watching her testimony because she is back on the stand again. So we will be watching that. Just a nice little reminder for y'all. Okay. So, don't try to watch it without me. Okay. But we will be watching it together as a family and all that later on this afternoon. Okay. But I got plenty of other stories to give you guys in between time. So be on the lookout. Make sure that notification bell is set to all, so that you never know, whenever I upload or whenever I go live, because it is random. Let's get into this article. All right. So off-duty officers take the life, of course, of this female monster at Joel Osteen's Lakewood Church in Houston. 2 victims are injured. That is the little boy. That counts the little boy. And if I'm correct, a 54 or 57-year-old man that was actually hit in the hip. Okay. As well. All right. So let's get into this. A woman opened fire with a long weapon. Got to use these code words inside celebrity pastor Joel Osteen's megachurch in Texas on Sunday afternoon before being hit as well and unalived by off-duty police officers. The armed woman, who was between the ages of 30 to 35 years old, entered the Lakewood Church in Houston just before 2 p.m. local time, along with a 5-year-old boy who was critically wounded in the shootout with police. A 57-year-old man who is not believed to be involved in the incident was also hit, but is in stable condition, which is great news, according to the Houston police chief Finner. The suspect was taken down by 2 off-duty officers who were working security at the church. She was pronounced unalive at the scene, the chief of police said. The injured child is hospitalized in critical condition, according to the chief. When asked if the responding officers aimed at the child, the police chief told reporters he didn't know. He added, if it was, unfortunately, and that female, that suspect, put that baby in danger, I'm going to put that blame on her. The suspect also claimed to have a device, a device that goes boom. But no devices, were found by police. She had a long weapon, and it could have been a lot worse. This is what the chief of police said during a press conference on yesterday. Now, one thing I want to point out, real quick before we continue. All right. They asked if the officers actually were the ones that hit the child. Now, I feel like that is a safe assessment. And it also depends on how this woman was holding the child. If she was holding the child in her arms and a weapon in the other arm, that's a possibility. Or if she was just holding his hand and he was standing right next to her and he just got hit by the crossfire of these bullets flying back and forth during this firefight, that's a possibility as well. But I do agree with the police. It's her fault. She brought him into the line, into this crossfire. Okay? But at the same time, I don't know. You think about something like that. There's a little boy. I mean, it just depends on how this boy was being held. It also depends on how this little boy is being held. Remember that too. Okay? We have to think about that. And it's a terrible thing to think about. But if she had him holding up here, be very difficult to take her down without him not possibly catching a bullet. I'm just going to be honest. Okay? But if he was standing next to her, I don't know. To me, it just seems a bit odd that this young boy would be taken down in that fashion. If it's, he's down here. You clearly can see, police could clearly see little boy, right? Off to the side. But if she's holding him like a human shield, that's another conversation in itself. Okay? But from what I'm hearing from other people is that she was literally using this, from what I'm hearing from people that were at this particular tragedy, was that he was being held. She was basically using him as a shield, which is absolutely terrifying to even think about. What person, what mother, what adult, what parent, what human being, let's be real, would even do this to a little kid like this? But again, we got to keep moving. I'm sorry, guys. I don't make the news. You see what I'm saying? I don't create the news. And I wish this was a different situation. Like we're talking about another little again. You know what I mean? And it's frustrating. And even so, even later on this afternoon, we're still talking about another little, right? Harmony Montgomery as well. I mean, this is all just devastating stuff, and it frustrates me and it burns my cookies, as I always say. Okay. Now, this tragedy unfolded shortly before church's 2 p.m. Spanish language service was set to begin. Osteen's Lakewood Church is one of the largest megachurches in the U.S. If you don't know about Joel Osteen and this megachurch has some history. This megachurch has some mother-loving history, okay? Let's not forget what happened with the floods a little bit ago, a few years back. Let's not forget. Let's not forget the uh, copious amounts of money and checks that were in the walls of the men's bathroom, if I'm correct, where the janitor found just bags and bags of checks and dollars just straight up in the walls of the bathroom. Excuse me. Let's not forget it, all right? And how he wouldn't open up the doors to the people when the people needed him the most, right? When the megachurch closed its doors during the floods and people were without homes, he would not open up the doors during that time. This is that same megachurch, just so you guys know. So there's history here. And this is the other thing I go, okay, could it have anything? Because like I said, we don't know the motive. We don't know why this all went down. Could it be because of a history of certain things? Or could it just be that this woman has some sort of mental health issues? For sure. That's without a doubt. But I'm wondering, what was the motive? What was the motivation? What sparked her to get up, bring her child or bring a child with her with a weapon and open fire in a church filled with people who are just trying to worship and get a little bit closer to their relationship with God? I don't know. I'm still just trying to understand it still to this day. Okay. So let's continue. All right. I can only imagine what would have happened if this happened during the 11 o'clock service. Osteen said she could have done much worse damage. Now, I'm wondering, when he says that part, now I know some people can really dissect that and chop it up and screw it and make it sound like, oh, what was he trying to say? Well, obviously, his 11 o'clock service is one of the biggest ones, one of the most highly attended services. I mean, this thing is international. He streams, right? He's on TV. He's got hundreds of thousands of people that come into this megachurch. I mean, it's an arena, y'all. This thing is massive, right? It's like everyone got together to go see the Super Bowl in person, right? That's how many people are in that arena. It's an arena. So yeah, it's a megachurch. You can basically say that. So yeah, 11 o'clock service is very dense as far as attendance and all that. She could have done some serious damage for real if she went to the 11 o'clock service, but she didn't. And I'm still wondering why. Thank God she didn't, but I'm wondering why. Was that a choice? Was that a choice? I don't know. Okay. Also, you have security there. So I think no matter what, maybe the outcome would have been the same if she went to the 11 o'clock, because those off-duty officers that are there as security, maybe the situation would have been the same. I don't know. But there'll be a lot more people on campus, on the premises, if that makes any sense. But let's continue on. I got a couple videos though, before we get into more articles and all that. And like I said, it's just absolutely insane to me. And I know that some of you guys might not know who Joel Osteen is. Let me just show you his face really quick. This is Joel Osteen. Okay. And this is, during one of the press conferences after this tragedy took place. And listen, no matter where you stand on how you feel about him, and his and how he preaches and his history, and all that, doesn't matter. No matter what, this is still an incredibly devastating situation where people did lose their lives in such a people's lives were threatened. Okay. During this situation, there's a little boy that is fighting for his life right now, a 5-year-old boy that had nothing to do with this, but was dragged into this situation. You got a man, 57-year-old man that's still healing. They believe he's not connected to the situation, which I do believe that's true. But no matter what, it's still devastating what happened here. And a lot of people are deeply traumatized by this situation. Doesn't matter where you stand on the situation. I mean, even if this was a political situation, you see what I'm saying? If this was like some sort of politician or whatever, it doesn't matter. What happened here is still tragic. What happened here is still devastating, regardless of what you feel about Joel Osteen or that megachurch or faith or whatever. It's still extremely devastating. But let me get this. Let me get a couple videos. Okay. Real quick, because again, like I said, let's get the police chief of police.
Good afternoon. I'm John Whitmire, mayor of Houston.
We got a press conference from the mayor. If I'm correct, the chief of police gets in here. Yeah, we're gonna play this one real quick. In fact, hold on. Yeah, let me play this one. Hit the number one. Hit the number one. Let me know you guys can hear this. All right. And let's rock and roll.
Good afternoon. I'm John Whitmire, mayor of Houston, Texas, and I stand before you today, unfortunately, to report on the tragedy that occurred just before 2 o'clock at Lakewood Church as they were in between services. I'll leave the details of the first responders' reaction in a timely fashion to the Chiefs Fenner and Chief Pena. I want Houstonians and surrounding communities to know that the first responders are doing their job in protecting the public, Houstonians, and surrounding communities. I also want everyone to know that this is a perfect example of the collaboration between departments. It's exactly what we've been calling for. HPD, constables. I could just go through a list of multiple agencies representing their agencies in a very responsive way. We want to give our condolences to Reverend Osteen and his congregation. It's unfortunate on a day that we want to attend church, watch America's #1 sports event. We find ourselves gathered here to respond to this tragedy. We want Houstonians to know that they are being protected by their first responders. We want to thank the Houston Fire Department for their quick response, the medical profession who's tending to one of the injured. So as mayor of the city of Houston, I want to assure everyone that everyone is at work doing their job. Let's come together on this beautiful day, a day that we're experiencing a tragedy. Let's hug our loved ones. When you leave here today, go hug your loved ones and say a prayer for those that are involved. Say a prayer for those officers that had to drop this suspect. They're suffering right now. And all these other first responders that I'm surrounded by, they're doing their job so we can be safe. At this time, let me yield to our police chief, Troy Fenner. Thank you.
Let's not. I don't know if he said this, but let's not forget to, if you are a praying type, let's not forget to pray for the 5-year-old kid. How about that? Let's not forget that too. Yes, first responders came in. They first responded, right? And thank God for that situation, right? But let's pray for that. How about that? Let's pray for that kid, because that kid didn't deserve this. Let's not forget that as well. And real quick, I know there's a little bit of a left turn, but this dude in the background right here, okay, homeboy that looks like he's sucking his cheeks in. Y'all watch the show The Boys? Why does this guy look like the main character from The Boys? If you know the show The Boys, you know exactly what I'm talking about. A little bit of a left turn, but let's continue. I'm assuming that's his bodyguard of some sort, but or something, because I don't know who that guy is. But let's go to the chief.
Thank you, Mayor. Like the mayor said, and I think the most important message, before I get into details, is talk about the resiliency of our great city. And we worship together, we cry together, but we rebuild together. This is a tragic day to watch how we stand together. No suspect or suspects will tear down our city and our places of worship. Pastor Osteen is standing with us and all of our partners. And I want to thank them all, our local, our state, our federal partners. I just want to give some detail here, but pray for everybody that's involved. The victims who I'll discuss here, and the unsaid victims, those individuals that came here to worship today and had to witness this. But rest assured, in this city, we're going to stand strong and we're going to move forward. So approximately at 1:53 p.m., a female, approximately 30, 35 years old, entered the property on the west side here in the parking lot of Lakewood Church. She entered the building. She was armed with a long rifle and a trench coat with a backpack, accompanied by a small child, approximately 4 to 5 years old. Once she entered, at some point she began to fire. I want to compliment the off-duty officers who were working extra employment here. One TABC agent, 4 years of service, 38 years old. An HPD off-duty officer, 28 years old, 2 years of service. Both officers, the officer and agent, engaged, striking the female. She's deceased here on the scene. Unfortunately, a 5-year-old kid was hit and is at critical condition at our local hospital. There was a 57-year-old man who didn't have anything to do with it, I don't think.
He doesn't think. And I don't think he does either. I think he was just, a patron getting hit.
Was shot in the leg. He's seeking treatment in the hospital. So let's all pray for each and every one of them.
One thing really quick. Yes. There's some information here that I do want to break down. And Zozo Bob, shout out to you, bro. Thank you so much for pulling this up. Yes. Trench coats. So she was wearing a trench coat. She had a backpack. She had a long pew, long weapon. And she had a 5-year-old boy with her. That's a lot to be carrying. So I'm just assuming you got a backpack, and depending on how heavy that backpack is, and I don't know what else she's got in that backpack. Let's not forget that too. Because, backpacks are not, you can stuff a lot of things in a backpack. And, if she thought that she was going to go any further than just the front entrance of this megachurch, what was in the backpack, right? What was she planning on doing once she got through maybe the front area of the megachurch? Because you never know. She could have been like, the whole plan could have been, I'm just going to see how far I can get. I know that sounds really disturbing, but maybe that's what it is. She could have had extra ammo in that backpack. There could have been other weapons in that backpack. But then she also has the long gun, then also the baby, the 5-year-old kid with her. Is she carrying the kid? That's a detail that I'd like to know. Was she carrying the kid? Was he wrapped around her side as she's walking in, right? That's a lot of weight, depending on how big the 5-year-old kid is, of course. That's a lot of weight to carry in with a long weapon and a backpack as well. And then, of course, let's not forget the trench coat that she was wearing, okay? And this is the other thing that I'm really worried Okay. I'm really, really worried about this inspiring other people to even try to target this particular church. That's the other thing I'm really worried about as well, that there'll be other copycats. Maybe not this mega church, maybe other mega churches. You see what I'm saying? So it's dangerous, you know. But the fact that she came in this way is very shocking indeed.
She went down. Officers reported back to us that she threatened, that she had a bomb. So we searched her vehicle, our bomb squad, and also the backpack. No explosives were found, but she was also spraying some type of substance on the ground. So HFD came, and the fire chief would speak briefly on that. But again, we're going to stand strong. Again, I want to commend those officers. She had a long gun, and it could have been a lot worse. But they stepped up and they did their job. And I want to thank them for that. As you know, when the officers involved in the shooting, we conducted criminal investigation, Harris County District Attorney's Office, and also both agencies conduct administrative investigations. That will take place. Both of these officers will, and the officer and the agent will be placed on administrative duty. But again, let's pray for everybody. And we stand strong here in Houston. I'll pass it on right now. Let me say this too. Places of worship. That's what they are. And that's what they will remain in our city. So it's just an opportunity for us to refocus and make sure that we all look out for one another. There will be increased patrols and a lot of conversation in our command posts with our federal partners and our local partners. But we're going to increase those patrols in and around those religious institutions. And it doesn't matter which faith. We love everybody here in our city, and everybody's important. So let me pass it on to Fire Chief Pena.
I will say I'm very thankful that he said, yo, I'm going to, I'm going to make sure that we upgrade or, intensify security at other places of worship, because it doesn't matter what religion or what person you pray to, that this could inspire and spark off other people doing very, very bad things. There could be other copycats out here just because of what this woman actually tried to do. Okay. And Lulu said, I love that sentiment. And if you're saying that about what the chief of police just said, I do appreciate it as well. I agree. It doesn't matter what you believe in and where you worship. All places of worship should be just watched for a little while, because other people are just, insane in the membrane. Some people are a little, off and could be like, yeah, that's right. And then they go and try to do the same thing. Okay. We've seen that situation happen where it may not be the next day, but a week later, it'd be another tragedy, etc. It's tragic, but it's true. Let's continue.
Thank you, Chief, and thank you, Mayor. First of all, let me thank all the agencies that are here with us. This is really a team effort, and our prayers are with, and our positive thoughts are with the injured, and with the officers that engaged this suspect. It's traumatic not only for our community, but it's certainly traumatic for the officers who've had to take a life, and we worry about their mental health as well. So our prayers are with them, and we're going to give them whatever support they need to ensure that they are able to manage through this incident safely. Kudos to the first responders. The Houston Fire Department, Police Department was here within minutes. We are now dealing with consequence management of this incident. Now that the threat has been neutralized, we are going to take our time to ensure that any issue, any risk that we see is properly vetted. We have our hazmat team on scene. You see behind us, you have decon units that are participating in collaboration with the Houston Police Department's bomb squad to ensure that we are looking at every aspect that may be of risk. Right now, I can safely say that we have not found anything that is of concern to our community or to this location. But we're going to take our time to ensure that that we look at every aspect. Our hazmat team, our decon team, and our rescue team will remain on scene until needed, and we're going to collaborate in this effort. We did transport 2 patients. One, approximately a 5-year-old child in critical condition. They went to Texas Children's, and we transported a second male, about 56 years of age, with an injury to the hip. He, last I heard, he was in stable condition. Both are still in the hospital. The child is still in critical condition, and we don't have any further information as far as his status. But again, let's pray for this community as a whole. This is traumatic for everyone, every Houstonian, and these types of incidents are, unfortunately, something that we deal more often than we need to with. So, look, we're going to remain on scene. I'm going to pass this on now to
before I get it. So let me before I bring it up. Yeah. Really quickly. This is a light, an isolated incident. We believe
got some
at this
updates.
moment. Okay. No further danger to our public, but we do want to conduct a methodical search of the building to make sure that nobody's in there, nobody else is in there hurt. So that will continue. We ask that the public stay away from the area and let us do our job on that. The reunification location for our parents or our family members is the Lifetime Fitness Center here. And if you come up, we'll direct you. Try to stay on the east side of the building, not on the west side of the building, and we'll get you reunited with your family members. Okay, Pastor.
First off, thank you.
I'm going to stop right there with Joel. I'm sorry. Because there's another piece, and it's a better angle, and I want to share that part when he's talking about everything. But there's some interesting stuff that just is now starting to sprout out right now, and so I need to fix or take care of something really, really quick. But this is I'm going to be honest. This is very, very interesting, to say the least. The reason why I say that is because of the information that is now starting to come out revolving around this particular monster. So I gotta share that with you guys in just a minute, but I gotta make sure I got this thing figured out here real quick. But yeah, there's some new updates. I'm still trying to figure out if it's all true or not. But there is some new information, and I'm boy, oh boy, it's very interesting. Okay, it all revolves around what this particular individual identified themselves as, and it's more than you think. So I'm just pulling this stuff up really quick so we have it. Okay. But more and more information is starting to come out. And I'm trying to get it all up here for you, or have it all here for you guys. So just hold with me hold just for 1 second as I start to get a few of these things together. Because this is shocking. This is shocking. Shocking information. But before we get into that, because of course, I like to try to have a little bit of the art of storytelling and whatnot. I do want to share what Joel Osteen says. Okay, and there's a bit of that in here.
We're going to continue to move forward, and there are forces of evil, but the forces that are for us, the forces of God, are stronger than that.
Thank you for joining us here on News Nation Prime. I'm Natasha Zuvess, and we do start with that breaking news out of Houston, Texas. A woman entering Lakewood Church, owned by televangelist Joel Osteen, who you just heard from there. The woman accompanied by a small child, holding a long rifle and opening fire today. According to law enforcement, the shooter is down. News Nation's Kelsey Kernstein monitoring the breaking details. Kelsey, what are we learning here?
You know, Natasha, there still are a lot of questions at this hour, but right now we can tell you that law enforcement is going through the Lakewood Church. They're trying to make sure that this was an isolated incident. Now, we do know that 2 were hurt. This includes a 5-year-old child, but we also know that the shooter has been killed.
This is an isolated incident, we believe, at this moment, okay? No further danger to our public, but we're just at the beginning. It's still an active scene, so I don't want to talk about her motivations because I don't know, and we may never know the full story.
So here's what we know happened so far from police, that they say it happened around 2 in the afternoon. This took place at Joel Osteen's Megachurch in Houston, Texas. They say that a 30 to 35-year-old woman entered the Lakewood Church. She was wearing a trench coat. She had a backpack and a long rifle and began opening fire. Also, very important to note here, she was also accompanied by a 5-year-old child. Now, the 2 police officers working at the church were able to then take the woman down. But once she went down, the shooter then threatened she had a bomb. Now, investigators then searched her backpack and her car. They found no bombs, but police say she was also spraying some type of substance as well.
And I'm wondering what that substance would be, because with all that information, I mean, unless she was just trying to creep people out and freak people out even more, I don't know. But that is very odd that she would go in here, trench coat, 5-year-old baby, backpack, long weapon, and then also at the same time spraying stuff in the air. What the hell is going on here? And I'm telling you right now, I fact checked it. I checked this. The information I'm about to tell you is already being reported by other news outlets as well. I had to make sure I'm not losing my mind, or, because people out here are crazy. Okay. People have time on their hands, unfortunately, and they can put BS out here very, very quickly. But the information I have is going to be, it's interesting. It may be shocking to some, it may not be, but this is very interesting information. Don't worry, we're going to get into it in just a minute.
It could have been a lot worse. Of course, we're devastated. I mean, we've been here 65 years and have somebody shooting in your church. But, we don't understand why all these things happen, but we know God's in control, and we're going to pray for that little 5-year-old boy and pray for the lady that was deceased, her family and all, and the other gentlemen.
Police do say that the 5-year-old who was accompanied by the woman was also shot in the chaos. We do know that he is in critical condition at this time. A 57-year-old man was also shot in the hip, and he is stable, was also taken to a local hospital. Now, we also know that this happened in between services, Natasha, right before a Spanish language service at the church. An estimated 45,000 people attend this church each week. It is the 3rd largest in the U.S., and law enforcement are continuing to investigate this. They're calling this an open investigation. Natasha.
Okay, Kelsey Kernstein.
I will say this. I mean, it makes you think. It makes you wonder when it comes to big locations like that, if they should kind of zhuzh up their security a little bit, amp it up, right? Inject it with a little bit more testosterone or estrogen, whatever. But at the same time, just inject it with more force. And I don't mean that in a way of like, oh, it's, martial law or some crazy thing like that. But I'm just saying, as far as just keeping people safe, because you got a lot of people walking into a particular place. You got 45,000. What did she say? Something crazy like that. That's a lot of people. Okay, coming in and out of a very populated area. Now, I'm not sitting here knocking the megachurch, not at all. But I'm just saying this may be a wake-up call. Not only just for Lake Church, but a lot of other places of worship in this particular area or all over the country, if not the whole world, that maybe they need to amp up their things because there are people out here that are very angry and they just want to cause havoc for the sake of causing havoc, or to make their point heard, make their voice heard, make whatever they're standing for or what they're standing against, whatever it may be. Sometimes this is a political approach. Sometimes it's just they just want to cause terror, right? So I wonder, are they going to crank that thing up? You know what I mean? Turn the thing all the way up to 11 and rip the knob off when it comes to security. At least if I was Joel Osteen, that's precisely what I would do. Okay, that would be precisely what I'd do. Now, the thing is I got a couple other things I want to share with you guys, but honestly, I want to give you guys this information because this is now breaking as we know right now. And I'm a bit shocked. I'm going to be honest. I am a bit shocked. Reason why I say I'm a bit shocked is because of the information that they're talking about when it comes to the monster that actually was the one pulling the trigger. And I want to pull this up. I want to have this up here too. So I want to share it with you. And again, this is very interesting. It's already being reported in articles as well. So I did check this to make sure it is true, that this is a true story. But I do want to share with you guys because because there have been other people sharing this particular photo like crazy. So I wanted to share this photo with you first. This is the woman, or this is the person. Okay. They are the ones that walked into this place, child in tow, backpack, long weapon, spraying things in the air, saying that they had devices on them, opening fire inside of the Lakewood Church. This, at least their government name, is Janice Morano or Moreno. Okay, just so you know. And hopefully I'm saying this particular person's name correctly, their government name, Janice Moreno. It's important to hear this because of the information I have now, which I'm going to share with you guys in just a second here. This is the craziest. Oh, no. No. Don't do this to me now. Come on. Hold on, guys. I got to refresh this page because it's tripping. Hold on, guys. I'm sorry. I got to pull that all up again one more time. One more second. So she has been, or they have been identified. Okay. Now, one thing I want to share with you guys, of course, is getting through this. Let's take a look at this article right here. All right. Now, of course, they said that he was an innocent bystander, the 57-year-old man, okay, who was shot in the leg. Of course, they're saying he is doing okay. Now, this is the information that I found to be very interesting, and it's all in here from this point down. I'm going to share this with you guys. Let's take a look at this. This is interesting, okay? So, Chief of Police said that the monster showed up at the church in a white vehicle before entering the building from the west side of the parking lot. Moreno and 5-year-old boy entered the church just before 2 p.m., and that's when the police said this woman or this person opened fire. 2 off-duty officers, one a TABC and one with the HPD, opened fire, of course, unaliving this particular monster. The chief of police said before Moreno passed, they announced that they had a explosive or that they had a device. Chief of police said that the bomb squad searched the church and the vehicle and the backpack and found no evidence of any type of devices. All right. They said that this particular individual was spraying substance on the ground. He said investigators weren't sure what it was. I'm hoping that they're doing something and, checking it or something. Moreno has a criminal history dating back to 2005 and previously identified as Jeffrey Escalante. Hopefully I'm saying that last name correct. But Jeffrey Escalante. I'm not kidding. This is written in KHOU 11 News. Identified as a man. Identified as Jeffrey Escalante, according to a Texas Department of Public Safety records search, which is interesting because if what I have the screenshot is, if that's true, this Moreno also identified as not Hispanic. Interesting, right? Prior arrests include failure to stop and give information, A, of a public servant, A, causing bodily injury, forgery, possession of the Mary Jane, theft, evading arrest, unlawful carrying a pew-pew or a weapon. Okay? The motive behind this particular unaliving or this tragedy is unknown. Okay? Wanted to share that with you guys because they're saying that this particular individual, Moreno, unless, you know what? Here's the thing. Because they're saying, hold on, because I know some of you guys are like, wait a second. Let me just share that piece again. Where is it? Previously identified. Okay, so maybe I have it backwards. And previously identified as Jeffrey Escalante. So I guess, and of course, it's the morning, so cobwebs are still being dug out my brain. Okay, so previously identified as Jeffrey. So this is trans woman. See, that's where I'm confused. Previously identified as. So that's the part. Identified as she or identified as he or they, whatever, but still. Hold on. We got more. If this is entirely true, this is crazy. Take a look at this. And of course, again, take this with a grain of salt because you never know. Okay. Lulu said male to female. So, okay. So Janice Moreno let's take a look at this. So this person was, I guess, previously was a man, but now identifies as a woman. That's how I'm taking it. Okay. That's kind of how I'm taking it. Okay. So I apologize for the confusion. I'm learning this as we go. Okay. It's a little confusing, right? But if they previously identified as Jeffrey, right? And now they identify as Janice, to me, it says this person was a man, but transitioned and now identifies as a woman. There it is. That's how I take it. Maybe I'm wrong, but this part is very interesting, though. Let's take a look at this. Again, don't know if this is entirely true or not. Take it with a grain of salt, but I want to share with you guys nonetheless. All right. This is very interesting. Look at this. Okay. Now, date last updated was June of 2023. The gender, female. Get this. Race, white. Ethnicity, non-Hispanic. Height, 5'5", 190 pounds. Eyes brown. Hair black. Place of birth, El Salvador. Other names, okay, is all Jeffrey. Middle name Janice, which is interesting. Very, very interesting nonetheless. But what I find to be very interesting is everything else is cool. But right right here. I get it. How you want to identify yourself as, etc. Blah blah blah. I get it. Okay, that's your life. Do what you love. Be happy. Just do it safely. Okay, but at the same time, this particular individual was also identifying as white. Okay, one more time. From my understanding, before all this happened, this individual was Jeffrey. Then they transitioned, or maybe they're transitioning, and now they identify themselves as female, and their name is Janice Morano. But they also believe that not only are they female, not only do they identify as a female, but they also identify as white, Caucasian, not Hispanic. But let me just show you guys Janice's face one more again. Let's get it all up the face, that mug shot in your mug. Now, does that look like a white individual, non-Hispanic individual? Just saying that so you guys know. And then, of course, the little boy that Janice had with her, was that their kid? What's the story behind this 5-year-old boy that now is in critical condition? And of course, this individual's other aliases was Jeffrey Janice Escalante. But at the same time, interesting. The Karen AV just said, Pascal, even some medical papers, doctors or nurses put me down as white, even though I'm Latina. I don't know why. That's very interesting. That's weird. That I find that a little weird, y'all. I mean, no disrespect to anybody out here or anything of that sort. Like I said, we are a loving family here. But at the same time, this individual is clearly not Caucasian. But that's interesting. If those records that we just saw, if that is 110% real, because people out here people have time. And some of y'all are real crafty with that digital stuff. You can change things and make it seem like something that it's not. But I will say this. Let me just show you guys again, okay, what the news is putting out here right now, just so y'all know that I'm not crazy, okay? The criminal record had previously identified as Jeffrey Escalante, okay? Previously. Now that they identify as Janice Moreno. So I'm quite curious about this particular individual. I really, really am. There are also claims of things being written on the weapon. Just so you guys know as well. Okay, now that's another thing. Okay. Now, this is just very interesting. Hamburger. I mean, you can't even, you really, yeah. You can't make this stuff up, y'all. So real quick before we continue, because there's a little bit more information I'm going to share with you guys here. So real quick, please do me a favor. Yeah, it's interesting. So do me a favor, hit that like button down below. I appreciate all y'all for being here. Thank you so much for being a part of the conversation. I see a bunch of y'all in here. Let's get it past, let's see where we're at. Let's get it past 600 likes. Okay, a like don't cost a thing. We've been talking about some very heavy stuff as of late. Have mercy, but still, nonetheless, it's a conversation, and we need to talk about these things. Okay, so please hit that like button down below. Send it past 600 likes. I see a bunch of y'all in here. Please show some love, okay, and support. That would really mean a lot. It helps the story, helps this video get out to the masses and all that. Don't forget, of course, if you're watching on Facebook, of course, hit that reaction button down below underneath this video. Of course, hit that subscribe button. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that follow button. If you're watching on Facebook, follow me on all my social medias, The Pascal Show, one word. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Instagram. I'm on X. Follow me on all those. I'm trying to bulk those things up a little bit. So if you're on any of those platforms, please follow me on those. Okay. I'm not done yet. We ain't done. The show ain't over yet, but I just wanted to take a little bit of a breather because damn, that's all I got to say. Just damn. All right. Now this also reminds me of the, what was it? Hold on. The Nashville situation. The Nashville situation. Audrey Hale. If anybody remembers that happened last year. I think it was like last May or something like that. Last March. Wow, that happened last March. Okay, remember that crazy stuff? Remember that tragic situation? And now we have this going on, and I do feel that people are going to go down a very slippery slope here in just a little bit. But at the same time, no matter what, a monster is a monster. That's just what I have to say about that. Doesn't matter what they identify as. It doesn't matter if man, woman, they identify as a unicorn or a dog or a cat. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. You know, whoever's holding that weapon and decides to walk into any place still is a monster. Okay, no matter what. And that story was absolutely insane as well. But let me check something. I think I got something else here. Yeah, I got something. I'm gonna play this. Okay, play this with you guys. Now, allegedly, this is. I'm just gonna play a little bit of this. This is apparently Janice Moreno putting in their 2 cents.
Good afternoon. My name is Jeffrey Escalante Moreno. Good afternoon. My name is Jeffrey Escalante Moreno.
Are you confused? I'm confused. I'm really confused right now. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I don't mean that in any type of derogatory or comedic way. I'm confused. Is anybody else am I alone in this situation? Am I alone? Am I alone? Please don't tell me I'm alone in the confusion. I'm confused. No, and that's the other thing too. Hamburger. Like hamburger. I'm really confused. Okay. Thank you. You guys are all saying you're confused. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like put an emoji in the chat if you understand what the hell's going on here. Okay. I don't know what the emoji would be. This emoji? Do you guys have access to this emoji? You know what I mean? Put that up put this emoji in the chat if you're confused, because I'm lost right now. Because the other piece that's being said right now, and I got to make sure I read this correctly, because I don't want to be out here saying things that are wrong. Okay. But they're also saying, where is it? See, that's the thing. Some places are saying that this is this particular person. Let me just show you the face again. That Moreno is a woman that identifies as a man, or that they identify as a man. That's the confusion. Everyone is saying 15 different things. Yeah, thank you so much. I'm doing this. I'm confused. Okay. Somebody said I'm more confused, man. Someone said I'm more confused than a homeless man under house arrest. I am done. I don't mean to laugh. I'm sorry. But that comment was funny. That's actually a really good line. I gotta write that one down. That's good. But okay. So I'm confused. Like it's Talvish. Okay, what up, man? But I am confused. Okay. I'm very confused right now. Okay. And I don't mean to be disrespectful. I'm not trying to be. Okay. But I'm curious. Is Moreno? I always, I get worried about saying wrong things. That to disrespect any type of family, any type of communities and whatnot. But I'm going to say it just blatantly. Was this person born a woman and now identifies as a man, or were they born a man and now identify as a woman? That's the part I'm confused about. Then on top of it, there are reports, or there are things on the internet saying that they had Free Palestine written on the side of their weapon. So you see the confusion. It is just one big, it's a kerfuffle. Like, the what? What's going on here? Unless this is if it's just a situation where clearly this person has some very severe mental health issues, that they identify as 15 different things, yet they say that they're Caucasian. You see what I'm saying? So I'm a bit confused. And they're saying there are reports, or at least, the internet is saying things like that they had Free Palestine scrolled on the side of a weapon. Yeah. Hold on. I'm going to share this with you guys. And I'm wondering where this is coming from. Hold on. Sorry, guys. I'm just pulling a few things up, because this is all like, we're learning this stuff as it comes out live. Like, a lot of this stuff came out within this show. Okay. Now I'm just going to pull this up. I don't know how much of this is true or not. But I'm going to pull it up anyway. Because obviously there's a lot to look at here. Okay. And don't worry. We got more going on. All right. Real quick, Mimi, thank you so much for the 2 Swiss francs. I really do appreciate it. I said it. We need a what the F emoji. Yeah, you know what? We do. I'm gonna make something. I'll make sure we make something. Okay. For all the members. Okay. You'll have access to the what the F emoji, and I still need the bum, 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 sound effect, because I need that really bad, more and more than ever nowadays. Okay. But yes, I was going to say, Word Sleuth just said identity confusion. It could very well be that too. Identity confusion, because I'm confused right now, because the news is saying one thing. Now we're hearing it from the person's mouth themselves saying this.
Good afternoon. My name is Jeffrey Escalante Moreno.
Okay. So I got something else I want to share with you guys. Let me just pull this up so we can all see this together as a family. Now, I don't know where this is coming from. I promise you, I don't know where this is coming from. I want to get it, find the actual article itself. But if anybody knows where this blurb is coming from, please let me know. Holla at your boy. But they say 2 off-duty officers were present. A 28-year-old. We already know about this. Okay, we already know about all this. Less than 5 years of service. Okay, somebody was also with the Texas Alcohol Beverage Commission, both with less than 5 years of service. Okay, the 2 officers engaged this monster, and this particular monster was struck. Okay, then they also say down here, this monster used an AR-15. Wow. Okay, how are we surprised that they take center stage and the star of the show is an AR-15? Okay, are we surprised about that, ladies and germs? I'm not. But moving on, they said that had Free Palestine written on it, according to a federal law enforcement source. Investigators are trying to sort out whether she was politically motivated or a disturbed individual, the source said. Now, they're still saying that that Moreno is a she. And of course, they're going to continue to do so until they get all the information that they can. Because I'm sure they're just as confused as I am. Because again, you got this being circulated on the internet right now, where it's nothing else other than this particular individual saying that their name is Jeffrey. Okay. So somebody said something about News Nation. Let me take a look and see if News Nation has some more info. But again, identifies as white, allegedly on that paperwork. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Allegedly on that paperwork. I'm just checking to see if there's any information in here on the newest updates. But still, no, so far nothing. But still, I'm a bit. Ooh, actually, I take that back. Hold on. Let me get this one. I am still, like I said, trying to wrap my mind around this. No disrespect to anybody who happens to be out here.
We are following a developing story out of
trying to understand this situation too, because I am confused. Okay. I don't know anymore. But clearly, let's just be real. We can all agree on one thing. One thing we can't be confused on is that this particular individual is deeply disturbed. Clearly. Okay. And let's be real. We already knew that this particular person is already deeply disturbed for the fact that they walked into a heavily populated megachurch with a long weapon with a child in tow. Let's not forget that. Forget all the stuff, who they identify as and all that stuff. This is somebody who clearly is deeply disturbed. Doesn't matter if they, converted to Islam or anything of that sort. It doesn't matter where their political stance is. The fact that they still decided to walk into a place wearing a backpack, saying that they got devices on them, spraying stuff in the air, holding along an AR and a baby as well. Clearly, this person is lost. You feel me? Clearly. So we don't even need to know what they identify as. If they identify as white, a unicorn, a cat, He-Man, She-Ra, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. This person still had the audacity, the monstrous ideas to try to execute with a baby in tow, whilst trying to take everybody else out. Doesn't even matter. That's a monster. And clearly that monster needed some serious help. Let's look at this.
Houston this morning, where authorities are saying a woman walked into renowned pastor Joel Osteen's Lakewood Church. This was Sunday afternoon and began shooting before she was taken down and killed by law enforcement. Police say that woman entered the megachurch accompanied by a young child. She was dressed in a trench coat, armed with a long gun and a backpack. Kelsey Kernstein joins us. I mean, Kelsey, so many people, myself included, tune in to watch these services. This was shocking. What more are police saying about a possible motive here?
Yeah, Marky, still a lot of questions this morning, and it's still not clear why this woman entered the church and began shooting. But we do have video that shows those terrifying moments inside the church as people frantically took cover. Terrifying moments right there. You can hear multiple rounds of shots fired. Now, police have confirmed that the shooter is dead and 2 others were hurt in this shooting. Now, law enforcement says that this happened around 2 in the afternoon at Joel Osteen's Megachurch in Houston on Sunday. Now, a woman in her 30s entered the church wearing a trench coat, a backpack, and had a long gun. She was also with a 5-year-old child. She began opening fire. 2 off-duty officers were able to take her out. Now, the 5-year-old child was shot in the chaos, including a 57-year-old man who was shot in the hip. Now, the woman also threatened she had a bomb, and she was spraying some sort of substance. It's not clear at this time what that substance is. Now, investigators then searched her backpack and car, and they found no explosives.
Why should it just be a bottle of Windex that she was just spraying in the air? You see what I'm saying? Like it could have been it could have been nothing. But like I said, I mean, clearly this is somebody who is deeply disturbed.
It could have been a lot worse. Of course, we're devastated.
And we already saw this part. So yeah, I mean, it's still the same stuff. Like, you know, at least News Nation hasn't come out with anything more so far. I mean, obviously there's going to be more information here soon. But that, I mean, Houston's local news is reporting about the identity, the, you know, et cetera, all the things that I just showed with you guys or talked to you guys about. They're the ones putting out that information right now. And of course, that's also being regurgitated all over X or, you know, Twitter as well. But let's continue. We got some eyewitness reports as well. Again, I am super confused, but as far as everything else, the actual person, right? But we do know who the person is at least. And hopefully they'll get things straight as at least the news. I'm hoping will get things straight so that we can get a better idea of what this person's motive really was, right? But let's continue.
Hey there, guys. This young lady just came off a vehicle. I guess you were brought over after evacuating the church?
We were escorted during the evacuation by SWAT team, by the police, the local Houston police, and also by the FBI.
Describe what you saw and or heard.
Well, we were leaving the service, and Joel was meeting and greeting everybody right outside on the second floor where all this happened.
Wow.
And I was one of the last people to meet and greet with Joel, the pastor here. And I went into the ladies' room, and when I came out, I headed towards the nearest exit on the second floor, and I heard this like the bam, bam, like mechanical sounds. Like it almost sounded like folding tables
chairs
were being dismantled and dropped to the floor. And then there was like, but they were erratic.
Okay, let me just say this really quick. First off, I got to go in and out of this thing. Okay, unfortunately, because that's just how the things are. These are the breaks here. But the other thing is, well, one, S Dubs, thank you so much for that information. There's supposed to be a presser at 1:30 today. Word. I'm gonna do my best to be there for that. Okay. Thank you so much for the heads up. But still, do you realize how lucky Joel Osteen is? Because he was in the area. He was in the building. And if, as she's saying, where everything went down, he was on the second floor. He was greeting and all that. He's really lucky. Okay. He's really lucky that they took him, that they took this monster down as quickly as they did. Very lucky. All right. But let me play a little bit more of what she's saying.
Okay, and then there was another set of like bam, bam, bam. And then all of a sudden it sounded, I stopped and I looked at the entrance and people were screaming and scattering. And I went, oh, no, 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 no. This is not equipment being dismantled. There's something going on. And then I saw a gentleman, I'd say late 20s, early 30s, but I couldn't get a look at his face. But he was like standing like this, and he had, it looked like a pistol because it had a long pipe on it, okay? And it was like, and he was pointing in the, not the opposite direction, but like at an angle to me.
You think? He was one of the shooters or the shooter?
Had to have been because there was a gun in his hand, okay?
Wait. Let me roll it back again. So this eyewitness is saying, what?
Couldn't get a look at his face, but he was like standing like this, and he had, it looked like a pistol because it had a long pipe on it, okay? And it was like, and he was pointing in the, not the opposite direction, but like at an angle to me.
That's a little bit weird, right? So,
He was one of the shooters or the shooter?
Had to have been because there was a gun in his hand, okay?
And he wasn't an officer?
No. He was dressed in normal clothes. I couldn't describe it because it happened so fast. I just saw him, near the entrance, and he was standing like this, like almost, the feet apart, and he was like this. I mean, evidently that's where the shots were coming from.
Okay, now one thing though I will point out is yeah, Nicole B says something that's true. That it could very well be just undercover security, like a plainclothes cop, right? That was there. That could have been it too. There's plenty of people who have conceal and carry, right? It is Texas. Let's not forget. This is Texas, all right? So I wouldn't be surprised if there was somebody there with their weapon at hand. Plenty of dudes, plenty of people walk around with their weapon right at the hip, conceal and carry. A lot of people you don't even know are suited and booted. It's pretty wild, okay? So there is a good possibility that what she saw was a plainclothed security officer, or it's kind of one of those things like when you get on the plane that they got those air marshals on there. You don't know who the person is that actually is the security on the plane. This could very well be the same thing here too. You know what I mean? Possibilities are endless up in this mug. Okay. But I'm going to continue this here in just a minute, but do me a favor, guys. I'd really appreciate it if you guys can hit that like button down below. All right. Crush that like button down below. We're almost at 600 likes. Just hit that like button. Of course, hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so yet. All right. Check my stuff out. Follow me on my social medias. That'd be greatly appreciated. Let me get these super chats really quick before we continue on. I can prep too. Thank you so much for the 5 Canadian. Is this person possibly from a culture where trans is more accepted than gay? Maybe they transitioned before because of this. You know what? I don't know. That's a very good question. I can prep. That's a very good question. I don't know. But then again, this could be a person that is very mentally unstable just in general. And because they're identifying as many different things, and all things all at once. Does that make sense? It doesn't, but it does. You know what I'm saying? Hence the confusion here. Okay. Hence the WTF emoji. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't exist right now, but we gonna make it soon. All right. MP, thank you so much for the 5. I heard a report that the officers that took them down were undercover. Yeah, I've heard reports of that too, but from my understanding, they were actually security there. So they may have been plain clothed the security as well, not wearing like a Lakewood Megachurch security, embroidered t-shirt or anything. They could have just been there clearly showing that they're there as security. And then, of course, all hell breaks loose and this thing transpires. Now, what this woman here is saying here, she is just giving her eyewitness account. And of course, things move fast, right? Things move very, very fast. When you got bullets flying here and there, when there's chaos that's ensued, you can miss a lot of things, right? Or your brain is going to translate what happened in your own way. And so she's sitting here saying, I saw this. Now, does that automatically mean that this person that was in regular clothes with a weapon, with a long, muzzle, does that automatically mean that that person was security? It doesn't. It could also mean that maybe Moreno operated with somebody else, that maybe this person was not alone in this situation, right? That could very well be the situation here too. Okay. I know somebody just asked that question and I saw that. I'm like, that's interesting. Okay. But a gun with a long pipe, that's interesting. She said like a pistol with a long muzzle. That's like what, some Dirty Harry stuff? But then again, I don't know. See what I'm saying? It's very, very interesting. Nonetheless, did Moreno operate alone or no? I think that's going to be an ongoing question now that we hear from this eyewitness. Let's continue. And I got to, kind of go in and out because of fair use and all that crap. Okay. But just ride with me. I appreciate you guys listening and all that. Okay.
I don't know how long you've attended Lakewood Church, but to have something like this happen
2
here.
weeks.
Oh.
2 weeks. I just drove here from Los Angeles. I've always wanted to come to this church.
Whoa.
But you know what? I've seen enough movies that I knew we weren't supposed to scatter. We needed to go to the nearest kind of cover, like they have big pillars in there. So instead of going straight towards the shooter, I turned around and started running with the rest of the people. But then all of a sudden there were very few people. And then I saw a room off to the side called New Beginnings. Okay. And it was an info room I'd been to before. And one person was going through and one door was locked. And I went, oh my God, I've got to get in that room. And then the other person opened it and I followed them in.
I mean, no matter what, lucky, they're all lucky. You know what I mean? Thank goodness everyone got, the majority of people. The only people that actually got hurt was one bystander. And of course, the child that was in the line of fire, right? And of course, the alleged main, from what we understand, there was only one monster involved in this whole thing. Okay. Everybody else that's in that place are very lucky that they survived. That this person did not go further than where they were than what they planned on doing, right? That they were executed before they could do even more damage. Let's be real.
We hid about 10 of us, 10 adults in a closet. And there was one child in there and no vent, but we were all praying and we were thankful that it could have been worse.
No doubt.
Could have been a casualty. We could have been shot.
Have you heard anything about anybody who may have been shot?
We just heard that there were 2 shooters. One was
So they're hearing that there were 2. This lady right here, showing you again, is saying that they heard that there were 2. Interesting. Again, rumors grow. You know, that game of telephone, you say goldfish and it ends up being, you know, Morgan Freeman by the time it gets to you. You never know, right? So that piece is interesting. I will say that. Let me roll that back just a little bit.
We could have been shot.
Have you heard anything about anybody who may have been shot?
We just heard that there were 2 shooters. One was a woman and one was a man. I didn't see the woman and I didn't get a good look at the guy, okay?
If this is true, very interesting, right? But again, this could just be rumor spreading through the church, by a bunch of people that are obviously very scared, very, very traumatized, and thanking their lucky stars that they're still alive. Let's continue.
I just know that he was holding a gun in his hand and it was extended and he was pointing it towards the crowd.
Are you willing to share any of your prayer? What did you pray?
Oh, absolutely. We pray, you know, God our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy names. But we also, I'm a prayer warrior, so for me to pray is our greatest weapon that we can use during any type of circumstance or situation or crisis. And there were women in there crying, and wanted all of us to just feel a sense of peace and protection. Thank God there were 2 huge, big wooden slats. We put those across the door. Nobody was freaking out to the point where, you know, they were being physical.
Let me just say this too. Yeah. Dominique just said, I believe she heard the return fire from the officer. That could very well be be true as well. Again, I mean, maybe what she saw was exaggerated because of the chaos, and maybe she saw it very quickly. You see what I'm saying? Like, there's so much chaos and craziness going on. I don't think you're sitting there going, okay, he's wearing a white shirt with polka dotted, you know, like you're not seeing everything. You're seeing things in flashes, in frames almost, right? So maybe how she remembers it and how she has it in her mind is one way. And I feel like she might say something different a week from now. And I don't mean that like, oh, she's making this up and she's, you know, trying to, you know, she's insane herself. No, I just think that after the chaos and the trauma has subsided a little bit, after the adrenaline has gone down, that maybe she's going to go, wait, no, I do remember it even more now. And he was not pointing at us. He was going towards the fire, right? And maybe that's the reason why he was going towards the fire. See what I'm saying? To save and try to help the security officers as well. That could be it too. Okay. But let's continue.
And yes, emotions ran high, but the prayers, all of a sudden, a peace seemed to come over the room. There was no vent. We're all in there like sardines. And all I can tell you is that honestly, there was a sense of peace and people were starting to smile.
I have a feeling this won't dissuade you from coming back.
Absolutely not.
I don't think it's going to stop people from doing their thing. I feel like a lot of people are going to look at that and say, hey, you know, lightning can't strike in the same place twice. At least that's what we all would like to believe, right? So I don't think it's going to stop people. I mean, do you know how many mass tragedies we have covered at schools, at music events, at malls, and people still go back to those malls. People still go back to those music events. People still go back to those schools. So I don't think that's going to stop people from going to worship, in my personal opinion. Mimi, thank you so much again. Thank you so very much. I appreciate that. But it is kind of, unfortunately, the world that we live in, right? But let's hear the rest of it. There's a little bit left.
This is a sign of the end times. And this is happening all over. The people that were standing next to me were from Miami. They just flew in. They had delays on their flights and they wanted to get here on time. And they were able to make the 11 o'clock service. And this was their first interaction. But they felt the same way. They said in South Miami, it's gotten really bad. People just walking up and shooting people that are sitting at the restaurants in broad daylight. I moved here from Beverly Hills. And I was there when Rodeo Drive, they were people were just breaking in willy-nilly into all the chic boutiques there. And Nordstrom's there in Topanga was broken into in broad daylight, and the staff are just standing there. And the police didn't want to get shot, so they didn't want to intervene. And they were understaffed, so that was understandable. But you know what I'm really impressed about is look at all the teams of people that here in Houston. We've got the constables, we've got the local police, Houston police, we've got the SWAT teams, we've got constables, and we've got sheriffs.
Clearly a great response.
I mean, yeah. I think they all can sit there and think they're lucky stars that PD, first responders, et cetera, came in and did their job. But at the same time, this is not Houston's first rodeo with mass tragedies as well. So I'm sure they're used to this. They know the procedure now, which is still devastating even to say out loud. Let's keep it real. Still devastating to even say out loud. Okay. Somebody said something I saw here. No, it's gone. I don't see it anymore. But still, no matter what, this is some scary, wild, nutty, confusing stuff here. Okay, absolutely, for me at least, confusing. And even for myself, I'm still trying to understand everything that went down here. And the individual that was involved. This woman says that there were two. Again, she could be completely and utterly wrong in this situation. Okay? She could be completely freaking wrong. But nonetheless, maybe she did see something that police don't know anything about. And I'm hoping that that particular person, that woman, is going and telling that to the police so that they can do their due diligence. Because again, it is interesting that this woman, this person, Moreno, would get all that stuff together and walk in that place and do what they did. So I am still curious. Could there have been a second person involved in the situation that got away? That's a possibility. But then again, I will say this too. One pushback I'll say about what she said as far as the person with the long muzzle, right? The pistol with the long muzzle. The only pushback I say is that if she was running by this particular man that was holding this weapon, why wasn't he picking people off then? See, that tells me a different story. That tells me that that person was going towards the fire, trying to save people. Because you got to remember, all these people are walking by, all these people are running by him, and they're there to cause havoc, right? To take as many lives as they can, right? And he doesn't open fire on any people that are running by him? That seems odd, right? Think about it. That seems a bit odd. So that's interesting. And again, I got questions, okay? I got cuestiones, as I say. All right, I got a lot of questions about this, especially with this particular person, Moreno, who did all of this, okay? Is this the only person? Were they not alone, aside from the 5-year-old boy? Then also, it's like, why would you bring the 5-year-old boy in? But I keep thinking that must have been human shield type stuff. Like, they're not going to aim at me if I hold this baby boy. They won't cause harm to me. I'll be impenetrable because I have a little boy with me, right? No, that didn't happen. Now Moreno is no longer here on this planet, and a 5-year-old boy is fighting for his life in a hospital right now. And what's interesting is what that 5-year-old could know, or hopefully the baby survives. I'm praying that the baby survives. But I'm wondering what they can maybe get out of the 5-year-old as well? What kind of information could they get? And what kind of trauma this little kid went through as well? It's a question that I think a lot of us are going to want to know. I'm just praying that I'm praying that 5-year-old kid, I'm hoping that kid makes it through. I really, really do. This is so damn sad. So damn sad. And, you know, the mayor wasn't wrong. You know, I mean, these are the moments when you hug your kids a little bit tighter, hug your loved ones even more. But again, there is a real problem here, out here in these streets. There is a real problem. And again, like I said in the very, very beginning of the show, it doesn't matter how many times we cover a mass tragedy like this, it still stings the same. It's still shocking. It's still mind-blowing. It's still aggravating. It still makes you want to cry. It still chokes you up, etc. It never changes the feeling. But the fact that there isn't any, I feel that there isn't any real motivation to try to make some changes so that we can have less of these things happening. I'm still waiting for that moment to happen. And no, I'm not trying to get political. I'm not trying to do all that stuff. All I'm saying is I just care about life. And I care about the livelihood of all these people, especially our young ones that don't even get a chance to live life because of somebody that makes a decision to go into a place and open fire. Because somebody has their own agenda, somebody has their own, is bent out of shape about something. And that's sad, and that breaks my heart. And I think that we need to start now looking at things, especially these types of tragedies, in a non-political way. That we don't stand on one side or the other, that we stand right in the middle and we try to figure things out so that we can have a better life for our future children, our future. I know that's part of some song and all that, and I'm not trying to get corny, but that is the absolute 110% harsh truth of the matter, is that we have kids that are living through these things countless times now. We got to figure out something so that we can keep our future, our families safe. And I think a part of that has to do with us pushing aside our political opinions, our biases, whatever you say. We need to push those things aside and start figuring some things out so that we can have less monsters out here in these streets opening fire on our kids and our loved ones. And I hope at some point that will happen. I really, really do. Anyway, guys, that's the show. I appreciate all y'all for being here. It really does mean a lot. It really, really does. Okay? I really do appreciate you guys. And yes, Jane, I agree. Enough is enough. Okay? We need to figure something out. And we need to figure it out now. Too many bad people are getting their grubby little fingers on some really bad weapons. And also, those people are still getting access to that. You see what I'm saying? It's a double-edged sword, guys. So I'm hoping that one day we will figure that out, because I'm tired of talking about these kinds of stories. I really am, but we need to talk about them so that hopefully there is a change that comes. So I appreciate all y'all for being here. It really does mean a lot. Hit that like button down below. Let's be real. I need your help. We need to get this story out here. So hit that like button down below. Don't forget to do that. All right. You know, get it to 700 likes real quick before you head out. A like don't cost a thing. It just helps the channel grow. Thank you. Please and thank you. And of course, hit that follow button on my Facebook page if you're watching on Facebook. Hit that subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube. And I will try to be back at 1:30 for that press conference, because I'm very interested to hear what they got to say about everything as well. So I'll do my best to get back here in enough time to watch that with you guys as a family, okay? But please be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button, hit that join button down below. Become a member if you're watching on YouTube. That'd be greatly appreciated. Check out my merch page, pascalmerch.com. Check out my dope swag, merch, etc., however you want to call it, drip, call it whatever you want, okay? Rags, doesn't matter. Go check it out. It'd be greatly appreciated. And I'll be talking to you guys very, very soon, okay? Have a safe one, guys. I'll be talking to you guys soon. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. I'll see you guys in just a short little while. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.